boxing fans here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we're back in Nottingham. Last time I was here, last time you were here. Fight of the year. Let's talk about this fight. I've just spoke to Mauricio Lara. He's not happy. Yeah. He's saying, listen, you guys are overlooking me. You're already doing a Josh Warrington face-off. He said, you've done this last time and look what happened. What do you want to say to him?
I don't know, nothing. He scares me. Look, he's the favourite in the fight, you know, which is so unique to see a guy making a voluntary defence in his hometown. I see this as a 50-50 fight. I think Lara's incredibly dangerous. You know what? Leigh Wood's dangerous as well. This is a tough fight for both. Leigh Wood's got plenty of experience. He's got the home crowd. But Lara's a handful. He's an animal. And it's going to be an unbelievable fight.
I heard you saying yesterday that he looks a little bit tight around the weight. We looked at him today. Do you feel like the best way for Leigh to win is to attack the body?
Maybe. I mean, you've seen Lara get hurt to the body before, but Leigh Wood's been hurt to the body before. So both guys are huge punchers. People keep talking about the punch power of Mauricio Lara. But by the way, Leigh Wood can really punch. And both guys are very dangerous in there, however long it lasts.
Michael Conlan looks like he might be fighting again for the against Lopez. That fight was sharp and Conlan wins. Are we up for a rematch? Because when I spoke to Leigh last week, he's well up for it. Yeah,
I mean, I think as a unification, that would be a huge fight. But also at the same time, you know, the Josh Warrington fight is a fight that we would love to do. But I think first things first, as dangerous as this fight is, we should just see what happens on Saturday.
In regards to that Josh Warrington fight, we know Warrington's coming off a loss. Has that lost any value to this fight with Leigh Wood?
As a unification, of course, but still a massive fight. I mean, both guys are huge draws, and it would be a great fight for British boxing.
When you look at providing for the zone, this is a very domestic fight, the Leigh Wood-Warrington fight. I'm sure at some point you're going to have to take him over to the States to get this unification and just get his face out in the US. When are you planning this? Is this going to happen towards the end of the year?
With Leigh Wood? No, listen, he's a big... We're going to have 9,000 there sell out on Saturday. We can do the city ground. There's no reason to take him to the States, but obviously if he has to and he wants to pick up the other belts, again, nice problem to have and one that we should discuss next week.
Want to talk away from this quickly. Deontay Wilder, supposedly there's reports coming out from Mike Coppinger saying that, look, he might be looking for new promoters, a new team, already talking about a fight with maybe Francis Ngannou. Have you talked to Deontay Wilder or anyone in his team? Yeah,
we've spoke to people in his team previously, but you know, I don't know of his position with PBC. He's a tremendous fighter. He's a huge name. We've got a lot of great fights for him. We'll see if he becomes, you know, available in the marketplace. We'd love to explore that with him. AJ fight, of course, is the one we'd love to make, but we'll see what happens.
Have you heard about rumblings from the PBC? Some fighters are coming out, or Broner has come out and said, listen...
Yeah, that was a weird interview from Broner, where he was kind of saying he was getting $500 a day on his purse. I don't know. But Adrian says all sorts. I don't know. Look, you read a lot of stuff all over social media in the boxing world. I don't know what to believe, but what I know is that PBC have got some great fighters, and if some of them become available, we'd certainly be interested in them.
Fury Usyk seems like there's a stumbling block right now. At the moment, what we're hearing is each fighter had to make a deal. Usyk's made his deal, Fury not so. What are you making of all of this? And if that fight doesn't happen, have you got any fighters that might want to step in and make big fights?
Yeah, one guy by the name of Anthony Joshua, but AJ's got Franklin first, but we would agree to that Fury fight now for the summer. But look, I understand they want to make the undisputed fight. We'll see what happens. But, you know, Fury probably feels like he should be getting a lot more money than Usyk in that fight. He's a much bigger name commercially. But also, to make those undisputed fights, sometimes you just got to give in to the 50-50. So I don't know a lot about it, but great fight, and we'll see what happens.
Tony Bellew is picking Usyk for that fight. He's saying Fury's maybe deteriorating slightly. He's a great fighter, but Usyk's a lot quicker on his feet. What do you make of that?
I would pick Fury just because of size. But Usyk seems to be in his head a little bit, and he's very clever at that. And he's, you know, there's a lot of unknowns about Alexander Usyk for a fighter getting in there with him the first time. So I don't think it will be the greatest fight in terms of entertainment. It'll be a tremendous skill match, but I do pick Tyson Fury to win that fight.
One more for myself. A fighter that looks to be coming back maybe March or April is Billy Joe Saunders. Have you had any talks with him? Do you want to look at signing him, maybe getting him back on with yourself?
We've spoke to Billy. I mean, Billy's a tremendous fighter. I'd love to see him back for British boxing. I still feel like he's got a lot to give. If that's with us or not, we'll see. But yeah, I would love to see him back.
And when can we finally hear this statement from Conor Benn, so then we can...
Tell me. I mean, you know, we're waiting and waiting. We were told it was coming last week, and we just want the WBC to make that decision and move on either way.
Fury's been speaking to Sport Bible. He said that AJ's dead to him now. Is the fight dead and done, do you feel?
Apparently, if he said that. I mean, I don't know. You know, when we were negotiating that fight, AJ had 3 weeks to sign a fight. They've been negotiating the Usyk fight for 3 months. When we were trying to do the fight on December 18th, we were told we can't do it on December 18th. It has to be November 26th or December 3rd because Usyk is fighting Fury in February. Well, we're now in February. You know, at the end of the day, you can only do so much. We would make that fight now. It's a much bigger fight financially for Tyson Fury, but the undisputed fight is also obviously very important. And if they can make that, good luck to them. If not, we'd be ready to take that fight after Jermaine Franklin.
There was an interview on talkSPORT between Simon Jordan and Robert Smith. A lot covered in that interview. One of the main points being that the conduct of the parties involved in the Conor Ben case left a lot to be desired. I just wanted your kind of response to that.
Yeah, what about the conduct of the British Boxing Board of Control? Mm-hmm. I mean, basically, talkSPORT and the British Boxing Board of Control are getting together to try and find a way where no one asks them a question about the way they acted in this. Mm-hmm. The British Boxing Board of Control had the results for exactly the same amount of time that we had. Now, Robert will hide behind, we had to look into it, we had to have lawyers, but ultimately, we had to wait on the decision of the British Boxing Board of Control. And they made a decision 3 days before the fight. Contractually, if the British Boxing Board of Control sanctioned that fight, the fight has to take place if both fighters want to progress with that fight. They didn't make a decision for 5 or 6 weeks. They also didn't tell the other fighter. And they'll say, we're waiting on this, waiting on this. The reality is, you knew for as long as us. No one asked them these questions. So they should tread carefully, really, because I believe things will come out during this process that might put them in a difficult position. But there's a lot of propaganda. I'm not really willing to get involved with it, other than say we're waiting on the WBC. But one thing you have to understand, which no one keeps asking the board about, is they had all the information for exactly the same period of time as us. They are the governing body. They are the ruling body of boxing who make the decisions in terms of whether they will sanction this fight. And for 5 weeks, they ultimately decided they were going to sanction the fight. Why? Ask them.
Interestingly, Robert denied that him or anyone else on the board leaked the information to the press. The finger point, I suppose, maybe goes back and forth. Does it really matter, though, Eddie, who leaked that information?
Not really. I mean, but what, again, people don't keep commenting on is people say that the fight got cancelled once the story got leaked. The fight was cancelled, ultimately not sanctioned, at about 8 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. The story came out at 11 o'clock when someone told the newspapers that they weren't going to sanction the fight, and then 2 hours after that they sent out an official statement to the public. I don't really care who leaked the story, I don't give a shit. What I want to know is, why did the board take 5 or 6 weeks to make a decision that cost us 7 figures, that cost us a lot of questions and some people questioning our integrity, when they knew about the test exactly the same amount of time as us? And they are the people that can cancel the fight and not sanction it. They decided to do it 3 days before the fight.